I doth hath returned with more creepypasta from the deep depths of the SML community. This one was mainly done with creepypasta readings, animations, all sort of that stuff from the YouTube community, unlike episode 1 where we mainly viewed the creepypasta wiki. I want to say thanks for the great reception on the last video, and welcome to episode 2, featuring one of my YouTuber friends. You know, I hang out with him outside of YouTube, so that's pretty cool. CK Rants, who you should go subscribe to right now! Alright, without any further ado, let's begin. Cody, Jeffy, and Junior are playing around on the couch until Cody suggests that they should make a clone of someone and have clone shenanigans like they used to. Cody drops the cloning machine on the way in, but he thinks nothing of it and keeps bringing up the machine. Once the machine is all set up and ready to use, they debate on who to clone, and they decide on Marvin in the end. Jeffy calls Marvin and he comes upstairs, and then they quickly grab him and toss him into the machine. Once the Marvins pop out of the machine, one of them seems quieter than the other. The original Marvin is going to get rid of him until Rose says she likes the quieter clone, and Marvin decides to keep it for her. Nighttime rolls around and everyone is sleeping, except for Clone Marvin. Clone Marvin leaves the house, he sees Hank protecting his car like in that one Night Watch episode, and approaches him. Hank tries to talk to Marvin, but Marvin starts beating him, quickly knocking Hank to the ground. Hank reaches for his phone to call the police, but Marvin begins headbutting him until Hank dies. After Marvin kills Hank, there's a time skip. He comes back in the SML house in the morning. Marvin is freshly waking up and sitting on the couch until the fake Marvin comes up. Fake Marvin just stares at regular Marvin before his head splits open and a tentacle comes up. Reaching for Marvin, Marvin grabs the remote and starts beating the clone with it, and sprints downstairs to the door where he finds Brooklyn Guy, who is there due to Hank's death. Marvin tells Brooklyn Guy what's happening, and he doesn't believe him, until Marvin takes him up to the couch. Brooklyn Guy sees the clone, he pulls out his gun and kills it, and then the video just ends. No joke, no SML question, just blank. And that was Marvin's clone. I actually like the creepypasta. It has decent images, unlike most other SML creepypasta, and is pretty well written. Everyone feels in character, and it makes sense, especially the implication that Cody dropping the machine somehow made it bug out and make something completely alien into the clone Marvin. The author finds a video that Logan uploaded after many days of not posting. Quickly opening the video, titled simply, Joseph Loses It, it starts with Joseph, Jr. and Cody sitting on the couch, with Joseph in a happier mood than usual. Jr. cracks a joke about Joseph's mom, which he and Cody hysterically laugh at. Joseph begins shaking, then it cuts to the gory room behind the secret door. Joseph is standing there, staring, with the of Jr., Cody, and, well, everyone else in the room all around him. Junior completely ripped apart and Cody in two pieces. Joseph leaves the room, finding Jeffy, Marvin, and Rose on the couch where he and his friends were before. He quickly shuts off the power at the breaker box, which causes Jeffy to scream. He then shoots Jeffy, but this was no Nerf like usual. It was a real. Marvin and Rose see Jeffy die in a single instant and begin running. They find Chef PV, who is just standing still in the dark, still doing his job since Braxton was hungry. They ask him what he's doing, but before he can answer, he's shot as well. They sprint to the front door, seeing Brooklyn Guy there, telling him that there's a serial killer in the house. Joseph aims at him, takes the shot, and just barely misses him. Brooklyn Guy runs in, gets drawn, but before he can fire, another bullet flies and actually hits him. Marvin and Rose try to run out the door, but are quickly disposed of beforehand, with nobody else in the house to help them. That was until Joseph remembered someone. It cuts to Braxton watching Charlie. Joseph guns down Charlie and Braxton cries. Before Joseph can make his way up to Braxton as well, he hears another shot, which was Braxton finishing himself off after Charlie's end. The video ends, the SML question being in Latin, translating to "Happiness is a mask worn by those who dwell in misery," before the video ends. The video gave the author a computer virus that directly infected his System 32. That's not how YouTube works, but alright. Completely crashing his PC. When he restarted the PC, his background was blood red, and a text box said, "I'm coming for you." He got a ring at his doorbell, and when checking the door, it was a package. Inside the package, there was a letter, and inside the letter contained the same phrase written at the end of the video. Right below the letter was a smaller plush version of the Joseph puppet with blood-red eyes. This was an alright pasta. It felt like the Tails doll creepypasta to me. I added a few elements to make it scarier, but left a few of the flaws in as well, to, kind of make it apparent why I feel the way I do about this pasta. Like how Joseph flies off the handle for almost nothing. He brushes off mom jokes all the time in the original show. It could have used a bit of a revision or something. Maybe it used to be better, as the page was being vandalized by a user named CumMaster69. No, I'm not joking. So that could very well be the case. I'm pretty sure that this is a troll pasta. It's kind of short and isn't really scary, but I'll read it regardless. The author is scrolling YouTube at night, bored and tired. They see SML movie opposite day. They had never watched SML before, but the puppets appeared disturbing and distorted, and the author liked horror videos, so they started it. The video opens with Junior, Joseph, and Cody on the couch, all of the puppets looking terribly grotesque. Junior asks the others what they want to do that day. Joseph thanks the Lord for giving him 2 rich parents, and Cody talks about his Barbie doll girlfriend. The puppets' voices sounded sickening, and their faces didn't help the feeling the author had, almost as if they were crafted from real dead bodies. The author couldn't take his eyes off the screen. Junior decides to get some food, and the 3 go downstairs to Chef Pee-Pee. When the trio gets there, they comment about how Chef Pee-Pee is cooking 5-star meals again. Chef Pee-Pee and his food look even more disgusting than the trio. He appears to be some kind of demon with mutilated flesh as the meal. The kitchen also looks like an inky black void. The only thing being visible is the trio within and Chef Pee-Pee, as well as his food. Junior thanks Chef Pee-Pee for the quote-unquote mac and cheese before the scene cuts once more. The camera is now on 2 more puppets, this time back on the couch from the start. One of the puppets actually looks sort of normal, a blonde woman with a tube top and a star necklace. The other one, however, is a balding mustached man, and he is still disgusting. The balding mustached man begins speaking, saying that they need to reward their son for getting an A in school, before the normal puppet says that she hates their son, and she hopes his gift sucks. A third puppet walks in on the scene, and it's heavily implied to be their son. He says hello to his quote-unquote beautiful parents, who he loves very much. They bring him downstairs to a plate of green beans as his gift, which were actually a plate of human fingers, which he thanks his parents for, saying that they were his favorite, and begins eating. The author almost threw up from the disgusting sight, and the bone crunch from the fingers as he chewed definitely didn't help, which caused the author to click off the video. You could probably see what I meant when I said this might have been a troll pasta. Everything in the pasta really wasn't scary. They tried with the eating human figures thing, but that's a long shot, and honestly, too little too late. I tried to make the writing better, but it was pretty difficult as the core premise isn't really scary. The author was a huge fan of Logan. She was such a big fan, in fact, that she paid $1,000 monthly to be his top patron on Patreon. She got Logan's number and was able to call or FaceTime and talk to him on occasions and ask about videos. One day she had asked Logan about what the newest video would be, and Logan looked kind of somber. He told her that he had been working on a video to express his true feelings about the show over the years. To her surprise, he offers to give her the link. The entire video was already completed, and it just wasn't posted yet. She quickly accepts. As Logan sends her the link, the description of the video is, "After many fan requests, Jeffy gets killed." She debates on watching, but she quickly says whatever and begins the episode. The video starts with Jeffy annoying Marvin and Rose. Marvin says that if Jeffy is a good boy, he'll buy him a toy from Toys R Us, and Jeffy stops annoying them. Marvin leaves to buy the toy, and Jeffy just sits there on the couch with nobody else there, the camera panning in on him over the course of 30 seconds. All of a sudden, he begins screaming loudly, incredibly loudly. The author almost has a heart attack from the sudden loud noise before the camera cuts to Chef Pee-Pee. Jeffy runs downstairs and is still screaming, shocking Chef Pee-Pee, and he collapses in the kitchen, foaming from the mouth. Chef Pee-Pee just stares down in shock. The scene cuts to Jeffy on a hospital bed, his heart monitor beeping very lightly, almost as if Jeffy is about to flatline at any moment. Jeffy was visible in the bed, looking incredibly grotesque and thin, almost like a zombie. Jeffy briefly coughed, which sounded like a real person who was sick in a pained fit of coughing. Marvin and Rose looked down on Jeffy, being terrified, waiting for Brooklyn Guy to come back. Brooklyn Guy returns with a frown, clearly bringing bad news. He tells them to say their final goodbyes to Jeffy, as he would likely not survive into the morning. The cries from Marvin and Rose sounded real, almost like Elena and Logan were crying. The scene fades as the flatline sound plays. Rose and Marvin sat on the couch as the scene faded back in, crying and mourning Jeffy. All of a sudden, Rose just stops crying. She moves her hands from her face and just stares blankly into the camera. The author pauses the video, contemplating whether or not she should continue watching, as it felt like Rose was staring at her. The author decides she would press on and plays the video, as it cuts to black with Marvin still crying in the background. As it faded back in, we were clearly in the secret room now, as the bodies were still everywhere, but oddly, there was one more body on the floor. It was Marvin, except his head was missing. His brain littered the wall behind him, lying on the floor beside him. He had clearly committed because he couldn't deal with the death of Jeffy. The next scene showed Jeffy, his face completely and sliced apart, having no eyes and being completely unrecognizable besides, his yellow shirt. Then the video just ends with no SML question, just white text on a black background with the signature Arial black SML font. The text reading, "You made me do this." The author can't take it anymore and begins crying. After she regains her composure, she goes back to her PC. The video isn't working anymore, however, as even when she reloads the page, the video won't pull up. Eventually, Logan emails her, apologizing for the video and stating that he shouldn't have made it and he especially shouldn't have sent it to her and that he's sorry. This was a good creepypasta. Many thanks to SSHD Horror for making a video reading about this pasta and recommending it for this video. I really enjoyed the pasta and how in-depth it was. I do wish that it was either more supernatural or they explained what happened to Jeffy. I also think it was kind of funny that Creep by Radiohead just starts playing randomly while Marvin and Rose are crying. Like, obviously I'm not going to play it, but yeah, it just randomly starts playing in the creepypasta. Well, other than that though, that was pretty good. This is another creepypasta, which I believe is very likely a troll pasta. Chef PP operates on the author. The author wakes up and asks him who he is, and he just says, "I am Chef PP from Super Mario Logan, and I am evil. I'm stealing your organs and your soul." The author says some edgy stuff like, "I have no organs or soul." Then Chef PP dies. Chef PP's body is stolen and used to create a chimera in a lab, which is executed by the FBI. Then the United States covers it up with a war in the Middle East. Yeah, I have no clue what the hell is happening either. This one is just here for cataloging purposes, I guess. The Exodus is a creepypasta about an alternate video, which changes the Mario plush to the Marvin puppet. Mario and Rosalina are sitting on the couch until Jeffy starts annoying Marvin because he's hungry for Burger King. Mario takes him downstairs and gives him green beans before Jeffy picks up the plate and slams it on the ground, leading Mario to give in and bring him to Burger King. Jeffy gets the kid's meal and he throws the food on the ground, puts on the crown, and starts playing with the toy. Marvin gets so angry that he just goes upstairs and curls into a ball on the couch looking depressed. Rosalina convinces him to see Brooklyn Guy the psychiatrist, which he does. When Brooklyn Guy gets there, Mario goes on a several-minute rant talking about how much he hates Jeffy. Brooklyn Guy takes a moment and knows exactly what medication he needs. Mario goes to the bathroom, takes out one of them, and pops it. Mario almost immediately feels the effects, returning to the living room. You can instantly notice that Mario has been replaced by Marvin, as well as Jeffy and Rose being gone from the room, which they were in before. Marvin takes a seat and asks Brooklyn Guy where his wife and son went, and Brooklyn Guy just stares at him, clearly confused. Marvin brushes it aside, thinking that Guy is just trying to be funny. He decides to go downstairs and get some food. When he and Guy head into the kitchen, Marvin asks where Chef Pee-Pee went. Guy just looks at him as if he's crazy. Marvin searches the entire house. No Junior, no Shrek, no Braxton, no anybody, besides his buddy, Guy. Guy leaves and Marvin heads back upstairs, sitting on the couch. The house looks different, almost as if the medicine made it more real. It feels less saturated and more contrasted. He talks to himself, trying to mimic Rose and Jeffy. Jeffy keeps annoying him and Rose keeps siding with Jeffy. He hears his doorbell. It's Goodman, who is surprisingly real and not a delusion in Marvin's head. When the door opens, Goodman looks completely different. He's wearing a baggy hoodie, something normal Goodman would never think of wearing, and he's being nice to Marvin, something normal Goodman would never do. He hands Marvin a welfare check and asks him how he's doing. Marvin tells him that he doesn't have his house payment, but Goodman says, "But Marvin, you're not my tenant. We're neighbors." Marvin is unable to break free of his delusion, however, as he just keeps talking about his house payments. Goodman says he'll come back the next day to check up on him, and then he leaves. Marvin goes back upstairs and slowly fades back into the delusion. I love this creepypasta, dude. If you've ever watched or read books about schizophrenia and people who have it, you know that this is like scarily accurate. Marvin is almost able to recognize his delusion and break free, but his brain just won't let him and reinforces it. That's genuinely good representation of schizophrenia and SML Creepypastas of all things. Also, the characters in the creepypasta are actually in character, at least until Marvin takes the medicine, and that's a plus. The author is watching a chilly vlog for the upcoming Junior birthday special whenever they get an alert that a video was posted on the main SML channel. They immediately go to the channel and see a video titled "I'm Sorry Chef Pee-Pee," which appears with distorted text and a high contrast thumbnail. The author brushes this aside and presses play on the video. The video begins with Junior and Jeffy playing football in the house, with Chef Pee-Pee cooking in the kitchen behind them. Jeffy hits the ball with a powerful kick, launching it straight into the ceiling above Chef Pee-Pee, breaking part of it off and crushing the chef. Junior rushes to check on Chef Pee-Pee, digging him out from the rubble surrounding him. His face is completely broken and destroyed, pieces of his flesh and skull littering the floor, stovetop, and counter around him. The effects were clearly faked, but it was still the most gruesome thing they've ever done on SML, even if not real. Junior grabs Chef Pee-Pee's now head, carrying it to the playroom. He begins rebuilding the chef with Play-Doh, tape, and glue. Once his head was fully rebuilt, the shot lingered on Chef Pee-Pee for 20 seconds, which seemed very different from the usual Logan style, more artsy. Junior just goes upstairs after his chef doesn't wake up, instead choosing to sit on the couch and talk with Jeffy. Junior tells Jeffy, "I can't believe we Chef Pee-Pee," before Jeffy cracks a usual, "No, actually Junior, I Chef Pee-Pee" joke. The two just continued chatting, while the scene kept cutting to the same shot of Chef Pee-Pee's only something was changing slightly in every shot. An eyeball where there was none before, or the Play-Doh shifting slightly, something was changing under Chef Pee-Pee's new face. This section of the Junior and Jeffy talking before a jump cut to Chef Pee-Pee's ever so slightly changing formula continued on for a few minutes before the chef got up and began ascending the staircase. Just as this happened, Junior and Jeffy got up and tried to go fix Chef Pee-Pee one last time. The two parties meet at the top of the stairs, Chef Pee-Pee looking at them, his Play-Doh's face writhing, only looking somewhat like his previous form. His eyes were deeper in his skull, and his mouth was pouring out a deep red fluid. Chef Pee-Pee quickly jumps at Jeffy, the skin around his mouth tearing to engulf Jeffy's whole head in a matter of seconds. Jeffy is fully Junior sprints down the stairs, hiding in a cabinet. Chef Pee-Pee wastes no time, though, ripping and tearing through cabinets until the scene cuts to Junior's perspective. As the cabinet gets ripped open, the monstrous chef leans down, locking eyes with the scared child. Before reaching, the next scene is Junior lying on a table, a knife in his flesh, and he screams, "I'm sorry, Chef Pee-Pee," with a gurgly voice, before the video hangs on Junior's body for the rest of the video, with Chef Pee-Pee eventually leaving the scene, followed by a fade to black. Then the video was swiftly taken down and has never been seen since. I can see why this is the most popular SML creepypasta. The only hole in the plot is the fact that a football causes a small section of the ceiling above Chef Pee-Pee to break out. I would have changed it to something other than that if I had written this pasta. Either way, this one was great. I actually liked it.
Hey guys, it's CK Rants to C double G, and you may know me as for doing commentary videos or ranting on SML Talks, but I'm gonna be in this creepypasta video with Spooky, so shout out to him for featuring me, and go subscribe to both of our channels. But anyway, let's just get started off with the first creepypasta. The video starts off with Marvin and Rose sitting on the couch. Duggie walks in and asks Marvin if he could have some money for Kool-Aid, and Marvin says no. Then Duggie asks if he could have some chicken. Marvin says no again. Duggie gets angry and runs downstairs as Marvin and Rose discuss what's happening with Duggie. Duggie runs back upstairs with a knife. Marvin screams, "What are you doing with that knife, Duggie?" Then Duggie stabs Marvin with the knife. Rose screams, but Duggie just ignores her. Chef Pee-Pee screams as Duggie runs downstairs with the knife, sprinting straight towards him, but Duggie just puts the knife back. Chef Pee-Pee sighs with relief until Duggie comes back into the room with an axe. Then he into Chef Pee-Pee's skull. The trio walk into the room having heard of the scream, and Chef Pee-Pee is dead. They see Duggie running away with all over him, and they chase him through the house. Duggie manages to escape their view, then he sneaks behind them and knocks them all out. The trio woke up in the basement, Cody able to escape his blinding and frees the others as they run away. Duggie walks in, the trio knocks him over and run outside. Seeing that they're not in the SML house anymore, they start sprinting home. Suddenly, Junior is and he collapses. Joseph and Cody barely make it inside the SML house. Running upstairs to the couch, they find Rose an axe embedded in her head like Chef Pee-Pee. Duo run into Jeffy's room and he's still alive, but barely, as Duggie had stabbed him with his own pencil. As Jeffy looks up at them, Duggie approaches them from the behind. Cody is with a kitchen knife before he can even realize what's happening, and as Joseph turns around, he's as well, instantly ended him. Jeffy looks down as his last remaining hope. The video cuts to the SML question: what would you do if Duggie broke into your house? Then it fades to black. This creepypasta was okay. It wasn't anything special, just another one of those characters snap and the rest of the cast. Creepypasta, which were very popular back in the classic creepypasta era. The author made a post after the cease and desist, looking for the lost SML videos, to which an anonymous user sent them a file titled Mario the Babysitter. Mario the Babysitter just so happened to be Arthur's first episode of SML, so they decided to watch the video instead of just downloading it, posting it to our archive. The video begins normally, at least for a few seconds. Mario with long, luscious hair saving Rosalina. Not from Bowser, it was instead a tall, demonic figure bearing a resemblance to Jeffy. The figure ate Rosalina as Mario got woken up by a knock on the door. He opened the door to Jeffy, but with no pencil, helmet, and a blank shirt. He asks Jeffy, "Can I help you, kid?" Jeffy nods. Mario responds with, "Who are you?" to which Jeffy points down at his shirt, but as he looks down, his shirt is blank. This causes Jeffy to begin throwing a tantrum. He leans over, slams his head on the wall like usual, but his head impacts the wall. The video corrupts, the author restarts the video. Marvin is napping on the couch again. This time we're just staring at him as he snores for 20 seconds, until he hears Rose scream. This is when it dawned on the author. Why are they in the new house with the puppets? As Marvin runs to the screams of Rose, he sees Jeffy standing in front of the secret door. As he peers around Jeffy, we see the usual but Rose is also in the room. At this point, her screams had stopped. Jeffy had taken a notice, and Marvin shifted his eyes to lock with his son, Jeffy. Marvin said at this time we got a better look at Jeffy. He was the same as he was before. The corruption. No helmet, no pencil, no Jeffy on his shirt. He opens the mouth in a perfectly executed Jeffy impression. He utters, "You weren't supposed to see that, Daddy." Marvin steps back as Jeffy steps forward. Their eyes are still locked before the screen cuts to the SML question. The quote-unquote question, reading simply as "open the door." There's a knock on the Archer's door as the video ends. Fun fact, this creepypasta started as a rewrite of Jeffy's AVI before it became his own thing. Jeffy's AVI, which was covered in part 1, and I think this one was better in every way. The amount of mystery and what they do and don't tell you is perfect. I also like how this story represents an entry, rather than a demon that kills everything for fun. Like it is in Jeffy's AVI, is definitely way better in my opinion. The Archer was an SML fan, and after learning how to use the Wayback Machine, he decides to go back and watch the oldest SML movie on the original channel. He goes back to December 4th, 2007 and sees 2 videos. One is the one that everyone knows at first, SML video Super Mario Got Milk, but the other one was a now unknown titled Meet Mario. The Archer begins the video. Luigi tells Mario that he's gonna go grocery shopping, but Mario ignores him. After Luigi leaves, Mario looks around and finds a book that looks like it was written by Luigi. He opens the book and finds mentions of a test subject in the basement. Concerned for Luigi's well-being, he goes down there and sees Koopa tied up, clearly having been before meeting his end. As his face was contorted in agony, Mario is about to leave and call the police, but suddenly he gets hit in the back of the head with a baseball bat. He wakes up tied up in the basement, Luigi standing there. Luigi gives his brother one last look of sympathy, saying, "I never wanted to do this, Mario." As he pours gasoline on his brother, Mario is in utter shock, sitting there in silence. Luigi throws a match into the basement, the entire place being engulfed in flames instantly. The screams of Mario echoes as the video ends, with the Archer deciding to leave the community after seeing the shocking truth of the first SML video. This creepypasta was decent enough. I like the concept of there being a hidden SML video that happened before Super Mario Got Milk, but I don't know if I like the idea of the main character of the entire show before the first episode even came out. Who is the current Marvin in SML, like a clone or something? And yeah guys, that's for my part. Make sure you go subscribe to me and Spooky. Make sure you go subscribe to both of our channels. And yeah guys, peace out. The CGG is signing out.